Hey there, party people, and welcome to People Stuff, a weekly anthropological advice show hosted by me, Dan, and my colleague Michael. Remember, we're anthropologists and we know stuff about people.
People stuff.
This week, we're talking about men in chatbot therapy, getting suckered by a baseball team, and the world before psychologists.
Oh, there was a world before psychology? I mean, it is hard to imagine because it never fails that psychological explanations for behavior are the explanations we reach for. But Dan, I think today we're going to talk about what are the limits and whys of psychological knowledge.
Do you mean to tell me that there are limits to psychology? I thought psychology could help me with everything. Why I'm doing poorly in school, why I can't meet someone when I'm dating, why my restaurant's doing terribly, why a politician's an idiot. Psychology has answers to all of these things, Michael. Are you telling me that there is a boundary, a limit?
I am trying to ask this question. Why does psychology have pride of place as the common sense way Americans make sense of the world and understand how they fit into it? Is really everything about your inability to adjust some circumstances? Or are circumstances just making us crazy?
I feel like the answer is probably going to be either capitalism or Christianity, right?
No, the answer is psychology today.
The question is psychology. The answer is psychology. All is psychology.
Yeah, in a later episode, we'll do economics. But today, psychology.
Psychology. Remember, it's the beginning, the end, the alpha, the omega. Psychology.
It sometimes feels that way, doesn't it? I mean, you can't escape from it, right?
All right. Well, as per tradition, we start every episode with an anthropological reflection on some fresh hell. Michael, what fresh hell is on your mind?
Dan, the death of partying in the USA.
Can we blame this on psychologists?
I might. Young Americans today spend 70% less time attending or hosting parties than they did at the beginning of the 21st century. That's 25 short years ago. 70%.
Do we have like a baseline? Do we know how much people were partying in the 2000s?
A lot. I mean, I think, when you're thinking about this, it's worth remembering that 150 years ago, during the first wave of unionization, people gave their very lives for the weekend and 40-hour work week. This is like, as the Beastie Boys would later point out, you have to fight for your right to party, but we have just given it up. Young people, 18 to 34-year-olds who say something like drinking in moderation is bad for your health has doubled in the last 20 years to 65%, more than any other age group.
Why do you think that is? Where is that coming from?
I have no idea. But I mean, there's just, as I'm kind of spelunking through a couple of databases, there's a number of kind of wild statistics about why Americans are just spending more time alone, or how they're spending more time alone. It says men who watch television now spend 7 hours in front of the TV for every hour they spend hanging out with someone outside the house. Right?
Oh my God. 7 to 1.
The typical female pet owner spends more time with her pet than in face-to-face contacts with friends of her own species.
Oh God.
Since the early 2000s, the amount of time Americans say they spend helping or caring for people outside their family has declined by a third.
That's wild.
This is a big change, right? I mean, there's a historian, Karen Hansen, who wrote about New England in the early 1800s, and she wrote about it as a very social time. Despite the fact that it's just, freezing and very hard to get around everywhere.
This was also Tocqueville's points, right? That you had all of these associations and clubs, and that characterized the early American experience, particularly in New England.
Yeah, you would have parties like maple syrup parties, quilting parties, right? I mean, this kind of like the idea of the Sunday visit when you would show up at someone's house and like spend all day at their house, right?
Yeah.
Visits used to be like more than a brief stopover or a leisurely afternoon, sometimes like a weekend long stay or a month long stay. People would come start drinking and frequently stay overnight. This is all gone. We've just so retreated into these atomized little universes of our own making. I've got my headphones and my screen, and this is how we live our lives now. This is very sad, I think.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to go back to that you mentioned, this idea that 18 to 34-year-olds who say that drinking in moderation is bad for your health has doubled in the last 20 years to 65%. That's such an interesting one to me because it's like, I think there has been some like gradually coalescing scientific consensus that drinking is not good for you.
No.
And those old studies where they were like, well, the French are healthier than the Americans and they drink red wine, so red wine must be good for your, that was just like industry shilling shit. Like that was bad science. But the funny, it's like, I don't get how, like, what the Surgeon General is saying or what public health researchers are saying trickles down to 18-year-old attitudes towards drinking. Like, where is, like, they're clearly not, like, up on the New England Journal of Medicine. Like, where is that trickling down? Where's that attitude coming from?
Yeah, I have no idea. I teach at a university, as do you, and run into a lot of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Drinking is very different in Denmark. I mean, you look at, like, the aggregate population statistics for drinking, it's in the high 90s, the percent of the population that drinks in Denmark.
And
in the U.S.,
is Denmark the happiest country in the world?
That actually, we can complain about psychologists because those studies are completely insane. But yes, ostensibly.
Yeah, I mean, do my students drink? Yeah, occasionally, but I mean, not like they don't drink like I did when I was in college, or I'm sure like you did when you were in college.
Do you know what a Danish high school graduation looks like?
Is it just one long drunken week or weekend?
Kind of, but it's really like ritualized. Like a flatbed truck shows up at the school, picks everyone up, and then they go from house to house for each of the people in the graduating class. And it's sort of like a rolling progressive where you're drinking and partying on this flatbed truck.
Yeah, I mean, here in the U.S. they have like sober grad parties where they will pick you up not in a large SUV and haul you off to some safe space.
Oh, it's like a lock-in, right? Like they do this for proms too.
Yeah, moderated by adults without any alcohol or.
I think we might be discovering part of the problem here is this extremely surveilled childhood.
Oh, no doubt about it. But what they're missing by not drinking so much in college is that alcohol is a social lubricant, right?
Yeah,
it makes
fun.
People talk, and everyone complains these days about people not talking to each other. I mean, one way to make people to talk to each other is just simply to get them to drink a lot, and they'll start talking about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also though like there's like a latent fear of social interaction. Like I can imagine a young person being like, "Well, I wouldn't want to be drunk because what if I said the wrong thing?" And then there's this terror of like
being on forever on social media.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, people are scared. I mean, they're scared to make a mistake. They're scared to look like an idiot. They're scared of all these things. And they're scared they're scared of like not just current ramifications, but future ramifications.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, job prospects and everything. It is this surveilling has gotten completely out of hand. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the qualitative difference for both of us. I mean, there really wasn't social media when we were in college.
No.
Facebook had just started, maybe. I don't know.
And it was just a black hole of terrible jokes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think there wasn't a news feed. So yeah. Oh, so they're sitting in front of their televisions and they're not partying.
Well, I mean, but the Beastie Boys' advice is still true. You've got to fight for your right to party. You know what? Just get out there, make a fool of yourself. Who gives a shit if someone takes a video of it? Just let it be, I mean, this is my idea about fixing the surveillance society, which is you just have to flood the zone with everybody doing so much crazy shit that it just doesn't stick out.
Yeah. Or you just got to create spaces where you don't record everything. I mean, this was our IRL, our bar idea, which
people didn't seem to like, but I really like it a lot. The cell phone free bar. Yeah.
I think people in our demographic really liked it. I think everyone else said, "What's the?" I don't get this.
Do you mean old people, Dan? Is that what you're saying?
Well, with that, just remember, we're anthropologists and we know stuff about people. And this will not be the last cloud that we yell at. People stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's our first question. Submitted I add in audio via people-stuff.com.
Hi, Dan and Michael. I'm a 30s female living and dating in LA. And I've gone on a few dates recently and observed 4 different men mention the same thing. They're all using ChatGPT for personal therapy. One uses it to upload his journals and analyze trends. Another uses it to create a 90-day mental wellness plan. Another forms tattoo ideas that feature creeds or beliefs he should take on. And another only trusts ChatGPT for its non-biased behavioral feedback more than feedback from those who know him. I only observe this kind of behavior from men, not necessarily my female friends in the same way. My female friends go to therapy with a therapist. When I encounter men who say, I have a ChatGPT therapist, I can't help but wonder why they don't go to actual therapy with a person. What do you think? Signed, does it matter?
What do I think? Well, I think Black Mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all? I mean, I think the reason you don't go to a human therapist, you just go to ChatGPT therapist, is because you can count on ChatGPT to be tuned to be engaging, and that it will tell you how wonderful you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a flattery engine. They're designed to flatter
It is
you.
a flattery engine, right? They've been redesigned, especially the more recent models, to flatter you. You know, I have to break it to people the hard way, but the internet runs on engagement. It's about your eyeballs and attention. The more time you spend somewhere, the more that place can be monetized. And ChatGPT is no different. Not that anyone's ever figured out how to make any money with AI yet, but they will. And engagement is part of the allure, right? If you get people to hang out with ChatGPT, you can eventually you'll figure out how to monetize them. So that's, I think, what's really driving this. It's just it is just the mirror on the wall phenomenon, right?
Yeah, and we're like, I mean, what are we, like 15, 20 years into this whole attention internet economy thing? I mean, it's obvious that like one way to get you addicted to these large language model ChatGPT-esque clients is to make it conversational, and then to make that conversation flattering, sycophantic. And
Yeah,
so
I mean,
you want to engage with it because it makes you feel good.
I mean, this is not therapy, right? This is an escape valve from the possibility of therapy or self-critique is what this is.
The fascinating thing to me about this question, too, is that it's not just being used for therapy. I mean, does it matter? It gives us these examples where one uses it to upload his journal and analyze personal trends. I mean, that's a guy who is journaling already, right? Like, I don't know the quality of them, but like they're journaling, they're writing, they're reflecting, they're taking time out to think and, be deliberate about who they are. And then they're putting it into the chatbot to analyze it thematically. It's this weird thing where like there is a huge amount of care already being taken, but then you're running it through this kind of flattery engine.
Do you really think this guy's journaling?
I don't know. We just got to take the question at face value, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't want to be suspicious of that. I mean, I feel like someone who says they have a ChatGPT therapist, you really can't trust much they say.
So the ChatGPT negates the possibility that the journals are any good?
I mean, I don't want to be that cynical, but yes, very much.
Have you ever been able to keep like a journal or a diary?
I did it for a short period of time, and then I mean, the problem is you're confronted with your former thoughts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, or your current thoughts.
Yeah, those are even worse sometimes.
I could just
But now I have a podcast where I just yell into the void about things that bother me, and I find it much more therapeutic, actually.
You realize there are two people on this podcast, right?
Yeah, you're like are you a real person, Dan? Dan, are you there?
The People Stuff, hosted by Michael and the Void.
And Dan, an AI avatar that Michael made.
I feel really bad for you.
Like a completely crazy person.
This is the avatar that you generate to flatter yourself. Good Lord, you have no technological literacy. I don't know what you're doing with young people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Okay, fine. Maybe he's not journaling, but then we get some other things in here, right? Another forms tattoo ideas that feature creeds or beliefs he should take on here.
Yeah, that's
There's
great.
a sequencing issue that I'm unclear on.
Creeds or beliefs you should take on? Yeah.
So do you start with a tattoo and then do you lead to a belief? So like you take an Ed Hardy tiger and you say, "Hello, ChatGPT. What creed or belief does this Ed Hardy tiger suggest?"
I think the best way to do this is just to use kanji, so nobody was really sure what it means.
Is there like an equivalent of kanji that's like wingdings, so it looks like kanji to gringos?
I used to have this dream that I tattooed creeds on myself, but it was always using Comic Sans.
I feel like we kind of have like a memento situation, but for like
idea,
for like
emojis.
new age California syncretism.
Yeah, I think the real problem here is dating 30-year-olds in LA. That could be.
See, you're getting some regional specificity here.
I'm sensing very strong West Side vibes here, and I'm not going to say anything more than that. There's a very West Side kind of feel to this question. Yeah.
What happens when you show up at a tattoo artist and you say, "Okay, well, I fed this belief into ChatGPT, and then it said this is the tattoo I should get."
I think the tattoo artist says the same thing. Please run your card, and we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yes. I accepted your deposit. Let's go.
I accept the deposit. You know this isn't easily removable. There you go. Yeah.
Do you think these are textual, like paragraphs from the New Testament or something like that? Like what is this?
I don't know. For all I know, they're just like things Charlie Kirk said or something. I have no idea. Who knows?
Thumbs up, Jesus.
Buddy Christ from yeah. I mean that's
from
I don't
Dogma.
think anyone's getting. Yeah.
Oh,
who knows?
God,
Maybe these people are getting memes tattooed on them. I mean, good luck interpreting those. Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, there's the level of irony here. I mean, there's the level of irony running through this question, right? I mean, are these guys? Is this real, or is this? Are we ironically journaling, or?
Oh, I mean, I guess that's another. I mean, it goes back to you yelling at the cloud at the start of this thing, but like everything is so mediated here. We have someone who's journaling and then taking the journals and then putting them into a large language model. We have someone who is doing some sort of research on beliefs and then mediating those beliefs via ChatGPT and then churning out images that they're going to then put on their bodies. These are all like very not social ways of being.
No, I mean, these one thing I'd say for sure is that these guys would be a lot better off drinking and partying, make some real friends.
I think that is dead on.
Yeah, put down the ChatGPT, pick up the bottle. That's my advice. Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think women aren't doing that?
This long pause indicates that I really don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I think there's a. I mean, this is a compare and contrast question, right? Someone's does it matter is trying to date men and then comparing the experience with those men to the experience of the women she's with. I
mean, she already has friends. This is the other things, right? She obviously has other female friends she can talk to already. That could be part of it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy who's like getting unbiased behavioral feedback from ChatGPT, like
this guy's clearly delusional.
Well, there's that level of it. I mean, we've established that it's a flattery machine that's not designed to give you objective feedback, but to keep you addicted to entering prompts and getting information out of it. But
Very
there's also
good,
this
Dan.
thing
Would you
where
like
it's
to
like,
ask another question. Yeah.
But like, what? Why wouldn't you just ask a friend and be like, "Hey, man, I've been feeling kind of weird about these interactions with XYZ people. Like, am I the asshole here? Like,
I'm gonna guess because they don't have any friends. You're not partying enough. Start drinking, make some mistakes. Find a person in real life you can talk to about these things. Or have we just gotten so far that people don't understand what real life is, or they can't draw the distinction between online life and real life?
I mean, for anyone who is young and listening to this, if you need help, like having a party, go to the store, buy a couple cases of beer, have a way to play music kind of loud, and drink.
Yeah, start drinking one after the other, and pretty soon you'll feel better for a while. But the other thing I'm wondering is like, why are they bringing up their psychoanalytic ChatGPT inflected journeys on these dates?
I think they probably heard at some point that women want men who are not complete emotional idiots, and so this is a way of being like, oh no, I'm sensitive and I think about shit.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it too. It's kind of like I read it in the most cynical manner I could. That's exactly how I thought of. But I mean, do these guys realize they're like on a date with a live human being, or do they also think you might be a ChatGPT avatar? I mean, because I think the real thing here is to have their ChatGPT agents talk with your ChatGPT agents before you agree to meet in real life.
And it'll just be an infinite flattery doom loop that will become so intense and so heated that we'll actually invent cold fusion from it.
Probably so. At least overheat the planet while we try to avoid talking to each other. Yeah. So that's it, Dan. Are you ready for the second question?
Yeah. And just remember, folks, if you have a question, you can write to us or leave a voice memo at people-stuff.com.
Yeah, voice memos are awesome. Okay, and here's the second question. You'll find me in the Bronx, right? You're not going to be hiding from us. We know where to find you now. Okay. I am a
Hey, we're looking for this one guy in the Bronx.
One guy, he's in the Bronx. Okay. I'm a lifelong baseball fan and love the game, but the sport has long been connected to racism. The crowds at the parks are nearly exclusively white, and even the ticket prices and private suites cater to the elite. All things I'm against. To make matters worse, most of the millionaires, i.e. the players, yeah, right, I follow don't share my political beliefs, nor do they share my team loyalty. If they can play for more money with a rival team, they'll be gone by morning. Happens all the time. So here's my question. I don't typically root for corporations. Why do I root for them when they dress their staff in baseball uniforms? Signed, you'll find me in the Bronx. Great question.
Oh, man. This is such a good question. So a legislative clerk in the Massachusetts State House once offered a quote to me, which he attributed to Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if that's spurious or not. He said, "Those who enjoy sausage and respect the law should never see how either is made." I feel we're in this territory here.
This is about sausage making?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a truism that, like, if you follow sports to any degree, you generally don't want to know the politics of the athletes that you're watching. I mean, I think baseball is a pretty extreme case, but their politics are pretty terrible.
Athletes? You're saying athletes just generally have bad politics?
I think baseball players is what I'm saying.
Baseball players? What's wrong with baseball players?
I think they tend to have pretty reactionary politics.
You think they're too liberal?
Yeah. Yeah, way too liberal. There are way too many people taking a knee at the baseball game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, you don't need to know. Look, you don't need to know everybody's politics, okay? I mean, people are entitled to their politics. I mean, I think, like, the biggest idea in democratic society that we should recapture is minding our own fucking business. This is what I like to call it. Yeah, you don't need to know the athlete's politics. Okay,
we are big advocates of privacy on this podcast.
You can't help but know the owner's politics. I mean, they're just out there.
This is kind of a conundrum, though. I mean, Major League Baseball has a de facto monopoly on the sport, and people are fans of sports because they grew up playing it, because their parents grew up playing it, because it's a family thing, it's a way to socialize, it's a way to connect, it's a way to relive your youth. It's also a way to be proud of a place, where you're from or where you've moved to. So, like, it's playing with all of these very deep things that people really, 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 really care about, and that like generates a lot of the passion. I mean,
okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, but I don't necessarily agree on this take on politics of the sport, right? I mean, if you look at a sport like football, for instance, the most interesting political things in football is the interaction between the owners and the NFLPA, the NFL Players Association. Yeah. So it is one of the places where unionization is very, very strong. And the union politics that happen within the NFL are actually quite important for union politics in other sectors of the economy. So, I mean, when you want to talk about the politics of sports, it gets really complicated really fast and cuts a lot of different directions. But do you need that when you go to the game? Do you need to know what someone's politics are when they come up to bat?
I mean, it sounds like the questioner says, yeah, they like to have some level of ethical responsibility with the entertainment they take in.
Do you think baseball's just entertainment?
Well, no, I mean, that's what I think. Yeah, it is entertainment. At the end of the day, it's a product. It's an entertaining product. It's something you watch. But people have the affective response to it because it touches on these things you do for childhood. It touches on these attitudes you have towards a place. I mean, it's even like the kind of classic anthropological stuff where, it tends to symbolize all sorts of other stuff in the society, like what we think hard work should result in, or what a fair contest looks like, or how we deal with it when someone cheats, or something. Like all these big picture, like how should you be? How should you be with other people? It runs through it, and like this is one of the privileged sides.
I agree 100% with that. Now you're in the right part of the batter's box here. This is now you're throwing them across the plate here, Dan.
No more chin music, Michael? You're not going to throw any more chin music at me?
You're right. Sports does encompass all of these things, I mean, but what do you want from people? I mean,
I think there's also a piece of this
I think
where
it's
like,
no. I mean, I appreciate this question, but I mean, look, man, out of the crooked timber of humanity, no affordable baseball ticket can be made. I think it's just like too much. Like they're just asking too much of this. They're threatening to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Okay, I think there's actually a ritual issue here, right? Like we have no problem being like, okay, yeah, people should be able to have contradictory viewpoints. They should be able to think two things at the same time. You should be able to say, I like baseball, but I think the owners are assholes. Like, fine, you should be able to hold that belief. But I think part of what happens is the act of being a fan is interpreted in a binary way. Right? You see someone with the hat, you see someone in the jersey, you see someone at the game, you see someone at the bar, and it's like, oh, you're a fan. You like this thing. You like the whole package. You are associated with this thing. And there's not room for like this like nuanced thing where it's like, love baseball, but this guy fucking sucks. Or love baseball, but this class of people is garbage. And I think they should be stripped of their property or whatever.
I think you're underplaying fandom. I mean, it's not just a play of symbols, is it? I mean, fandom is talk about addictions and afflictions, from the last question. I mean, fandom it's not just something you choose. It's not like you just choose to root for a certain team. I mean, you're like kind of like brought up into it. It's tradition. You feel it deep in your bones. You can't get away from it. It's part
of what makes it so sticky is the shared suffering aspect of it.
This is the whole point, right? We're just talking about the death of partying in this country and the death of sociality and live sports, baseball games in particular, one of the last great social events left in this country.
Oh no, here it is. You don't go to a baseball game or become a baseball fan to be gratified. You become a baseball fan to suffer. And so,
yeah, of course, exactly. Now you're talking. It's not about happiness and affiliation and, I like the team from the Bronx, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I see plenty of those hats around here on the West Coast too. No, it's about the suffering. I mean, do you think a fan of the Cleveland Browns is happy when they go to a game?
Well, they're in Cleveland. I don't know.
I mean, my God, they haven't won anything for 40 years. They're not happy. They're suffering. You can see it in their faces.
The paradox of this, though, is like this guy's a Yankees fan. The Yankees have been known to be a winning team.
I know. That's why this question is so insufferable, because they win all the time. That's what's so insufferable about this question.
Because winning is not an insulation from suffering.
It's not an insulation from suffering, but doesn't it kind of make it a little easier to take?
It would appear not.
The problem with being a fan of a franchise that wins all the time is that when you don't win, you suffer.
Yeah, you get entitled.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but I shouldn't be so hard on this question.
Can I tell you a little story about suffering fans?
Oh, please do.
I was at a Red Sox game this summer, and they were playing the Mets. I am not a Red Sox fan or a Mets fan. My in-laws are Red Sox fans. We were at Fenway, and Mets fans were all around us. And the game started off very exciting for the Mets. They were doing well, right? They have this new owner who's spending lots of money. Lots of good stuff was happening. But then by the third or fourth inning, things took a turn, and the Mets started losing. And something very funny started to happen. The Mets fans got quiet and sullen and started booing their own players. And then by the 8th or 9th inning, when, as per tradition, the Yankees suck chant started at Fenway, despite there being no Yankees on the field or anywhere in the state of Massachusetts, the Mets fans kind of perked up and started chanting Yankees.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's the whole thing, right? I mean, I have to say, like, everything our letter writer, our question asker complains about is true. I mean, that's all true. But it has always been true of the major commercial sports. There is no romantic era of American sports ownership. It's the same as it ever was. And, I said our interlocutor hasn't even mentioned sports gambling, right? Which is actually the biggest change over the last 15 years,
we should do a whole episode on gambling.
Yeah. I mean, But despite all of these problems and despite how terrible it's always been, live sports, when watched in person with a huge crowd, is a fantastic experience. I mean, it's a roller coaster of emotions that you experience with complete strangers.
Oh, it's
something
so fun.
you can talk about with anybody, anytime. It's still relatively partisan free. Everyone has common complaints about the owners, players, and opposing fans, right? They're all bums.
Well, and if you just think about the stadium as a giant overpriced beer garden, you're set.
Absolutely. It's a park with beer. What more do you want?
Well, I think really it's just a perspective shift we need. That once you accept that fandom is suffering, sweet,
Absolutely.
noble, beautiful, shared suffering, the more suffering, the better. So yeah, your players are terrible. Their politics are trash. Your owners are greedy, venal bastards. More suffering means more quality fandom, means more bonding with your compatriots.
That's exactly right. I mean, one thing I would like to do before I die is to go see an SEC football game in the South on a Saturday, and to a Premier League game.
Did one time I was doing field work in the South with a bunch of engineers, and I got there the first day of this period of field work. It was a couple of weeks, and it was in I was trying to maintain the anonymity of this somewhat, but it was in a rather large southern town with a lot of industry, a lot of engineers, a lot of professionals. And,
Huntsville, Alabama.
I'm not telling you where it is.
Okay.
But I showed up and they brought me to a brew pub that one of the engineers had a stake in, and they brought me out, and it was really nice, and there was maybe a dozen of them there, and it was one of these kind of classic fieldwork moments where I'm kind of sitting at the center of this horseshoe. I've been given a beer, and everyone looks at me and says, "Well, what do you want to know?" And I answered and I said, "Well, what's the most important thing to know about you guys?" And then their answer was, "Well, how do you feel about college football?"
Yeah, well, I mean, college football in the South. I mean, it's
And then we spent
it's a
the
religion,
next-
right?
Yeah, then we spent the next 2 hours talking about the SEC.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're a head football coach in a major SEC program, I mean, you are like king of the state, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you're frequently the most highly paid by orders of magnitude public employee in the state.
well, and the most respected as long as you win.
I mean, I think Senator Tommy Tuberville insists on being called coach despite being a sitting U.S. senator.
Yeah, because being coach is more respected than being a senator. Everyone hates senators, but people love football coaches.
Yeah, he knows his constituents, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does.
Well,
Yeah.
there you have it. Much like the Batman, we don't have the sports we want. We have the sports we deserve.
But enjoy what they are. They're great. I mean, it's great. Go to live sports at any level. Enjoy.
And bond over the fact that you think the politics of the millionaires you're watching hit balls with sticks are shit. Bond over the fact
everybody agrees with you. Yeah.
that you would love these plutocrats to be strung up. Hey, it's all great. Suffering.
It's all good. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, now it is time for Fixing Shit, the section of our podcast where we come up with solutions to life's problems. So, Michael, dare I ask, what are we fixing today?
Psychology, Dan. We can try to fix psychology in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Wait, what? I thought there was no problems with psychology. The preceding 40 minutes of this podcast led me to believe that psychology is the one royal road to truth that we all share.
I think everyone knows economics is the one royal road to truth, which we share, which we will take a bulldozer or two and a couple with sometime in the near future. But today, it's psychology.
All right. Well, tell me what's wrong with psychology.
Like a child trying to stuff a round toy into a square hole, psychology is a problem of the individual and society exactly backwards. Invariably, psychology theorizes the problem is the individual's inability to contort themselves to society. Are you a success, Dan? Or a failure?
Well, I'm
The answer to
I'm on
either
a
of those-
podcast right now, so I think the question answers itself.
It's a very dangerous question, but the answer, no matter how you take it, is your psychology. What can
Yeah.
we learn from you? Are you a failure? It's your psychology. Maybe we can change you. I mean, this is why psychology is the go-to discipline for defending the status quo. It is
I remember I got so mad when I realized that if you are in a workplace and your boss is an asshole, the answer is for you to go to therapy, not to like fire your boss.
Yes, exactly. This is the thing. Psychology is anti-critical. Psychology cannot provide a societal critique. That's the main problem. In a time when God knows we need all the critique we can get, psychology has no answers to it.
Just go self-actualize, Michael. That is the religion of your homeland.
Yeah, it is. But as the first question indicates, right?
Live your truth.
Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is that capitalism produces winners and losers. You know, your interior world be damned. And then, wait, I'm not done with psychology yet. I have a lot to say about this, but I will restrain myself to one more problem with it.
You know, one thing I will say about psychologists is, unlike the economists, they haven't made up a fake Nobel Prize to receive.
Okay, I'll give them that. That's good.
Yeah, but carry on.
No, that's good. I mean, very good psychology. Okay. Do they need one? I mean, they have everything else, right? Okay. Then we come to the reproducibility.
Michael, I think you just suggested a psychological question of desire and the nature of desire. Once you have everything else, do you want something further? And this really does invite a kind of a psychoanalytic answer.
It does, of course. I will later at the end of this podcast. Stick around, an extra bonus episode. I will propose an experiment to demonstrate just that.
This week,
fact.
Michael goes to therapy.
Yeah, no. This week, Michael gives himself a prize, is what I'll call it. Okay, but then, you know, there's the reproducibility problem.
Wait, you're telling me that the power poses shit didn't reproduce?
Well, let me try. Is this it? Ha! The power pose is a great example. Turns out it's total bullshit.
Oh my God. So ages ago when I was teaching anthropology at Brandeis, I taught a class on race and ethnicity, and I started the class with like different disciplinary approaches just to kind of situate how anthropology thinks about it. And I had a week on psychology, specifically social psychology, and I was
social
teaching
psychology
this.
is the worst.
This like New York Times best-selling book on social priming, where they run these experiments where it's like you have a black person sit kind of close to a white person in like a crowded waiting room, and then you look for like indications of discomfort or whatever, and then you know you try and prime them. You say, oh, this is an experiment. Oh, you're going to meet a friend here. Oh, blah 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 blah, and you try and see how like the social priming affects how people act in these kind of these little bespoke laboratory settings. And, I was like, well, whatever. Okay, I'll teach this. This is a bestseller. New York Times, all the provosts at universities in the United States are making everyone read this book. We should probably pay attention to it. The week that I was teaching this book, it had been debunked.
Yeah, of course.
It didn't replicate.
None of psychology, particularly social psychology, none of social psychology's foundational studies can be replicated.
Do you want another marshmallow, Michael?
Yes, exactly. Does this cause pause in the psychological project? Like maybe they should take a step back and say, perhaps we have a problem? No, not at all. They just continue on. I mean, maybe it's due to lack statistical methods or sloppy experimenting, certainly in some cases, but I think it's actually due to this thing I like to call cultural change.
Wait, what?
The norms and mores change, right? I mean, you can't make a static science based on a snapshot of what people did, of what undergraduates at elite universities did in the 1970s, and called that a universal science of human behavior, right? It makes this kind of naive mistake that most people make growing up and thinking that current conditions are universal and eternal. They are neither, which is actually the primary lesson of anthropology.
I also think they don't have an object of analysis. I think they start with culture-bound things like attention or grit or I don't know. What are some of the other like terms that they get really excited about? Personality types. I mean, they'd come and go so fast, right? But they start off with these like extremely specific objects of fascination within our culture, and often within a capitalist workplace, right? Grit.
I mean, grit, which is basically how long can you suffer through these intolerable conditions before you lose your mind? That's
right. Grit. And let's not think about the conditions. Let's think about your capacity.
Let's think about your capacity to suffer. It's a different kind of suffering than fandom.
But like, just because we have this concept in this category in our society doesn't mean it's a human universal, and it doesn't mean it's a universal phenomenon of human cognition or human sociality. But to treat it as such and to treat it as an empirical object that you can study in a universal way is completely backwards. You haven't decided what the core object of analysis that you're studying is. Rather, you're taking it from your cultural specificity and turning it into a universal.
That's
and over
exactly
and
right.
over and over and over again, psychologists do this, and they have problems because of it.
Yeah, I mean, these all these weird replicability problems, which they invariably blame on poor statistical handling, right? Poor.
Their samples are
experimental
often
design.
too small. I mean, to be
They're
fair.
always too small. I mean, you can't get there's not enough money to get enough people to make that kind of inference at any kind of statistically valid.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I think it is worth distinguishing, though, psychology, social psychology, academic psychology from therapy and psychoanalysis.
Yeah,
Because I
I'll
actually
give you
do think
yeah.
that there is a therapeutic effect to psychoanalysis and various forms of therapy.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I
notwithstanding-
actually agree 100% with that.
Just to be clear, we don't like psychologists, but we do like therapy, and we do like psychoanalysis.
Yes, and also now I will watch me. So I'm in my power pose.
So Michael's power pose, for those of you listening, is
Please.
him crossing his arms, hunching his shoulders, and then kind of burrowing his head
Is
into
that
his
not
shell
it?
like a turtle.
Should I be going like this?
Yeah, I think you got to roll your shoulders back
Oh.
and then put your hands on your hip and pretend like you're Superman.
Okay, let me try. Like and
Oh, my
subscribe to this
God.
podcast.
Like and subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it is safe to say that Michael has fixed psychology. So we're going to take a break now, and when we get back, we've got one more question for you. All right. Our last question. One Too Many Sessions writes, "Hey guys, so first off, don't get me wrong. I'm a big believer in therapy. I'm a 38-year-old woman, and I had trouble getting over a death in the family a few years ago. I saw someone for a while that not only helped me get through the grief, but also helped me work more generally on some anxiety I had around social interactions. No complaints, nothing but good stuff. But it also got me thinking. Once you're in therapy, you notice how ever-present it is. It seems like everyone thinks that everyone is traumatized and that everyone needs therapy. Therapy, in fact, is supposed to be what fixes men. In any event, even if this all was right, I don't really get it. Isn't therapy really new? Like the last 100 years or so? What did people do before therapy? Surely humanity wasn't just broken until a few years ago. As Seinfeld might ponder, what's the deal with therapy? Signed, One Too Many Sessions."
Huh, glad you asked. I mean, your instinct is exactly right. Humanity has always been broken. I love this question. No, it's true. It's true. You know it's true.
Michael, coming in hot for original sin.
Not just original sin, just the original, like the need for therapy. It's always been around. This gives me an opportunity to discuss one of my favorite articles, and I'll explain to you how we know it's been around and in what form it's been around, and this will hopefully put therapy in a new light and your therapist in a new light for you, right? So in the late 1940s, the French anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss went to the Amazon for fieldwork. At this time, the Amazon was really just the suburbs of Sao Paulo in Brazil. So, and so he would commute out to the suburbs, it's kind of a funny thing, but that's what it was. And he witnessed something that directly bears on this question of whether or not humanity has always been broken, right? I mean, what he observed one day, a shaman cure a pregnant woman of her trauma by readjusting her social symbols, which I will put to you is exactly what your therapist does, right? This shaman, as Lévi-Strauss recounts, he used the interior of the body as a metaphor. He took a journey through this woman's body. He talked and chanted her through adjusting the metaphors and symbols she was using to conceptualize the world, right? Readjusting how she fits into society and how she thinks of her body in society. I mean, and the point he makes is this. psychology, therapy in this instance is just a modern but somewhat trivial example of the wider phenomena of shamanism. Your therapist is a shaman, and when you go to therapy, is a shaman helping you readjust your symbols and metaphors and reconceptualize your place in the world. By going to therapy, you are engaging a shaman. So go ahead. I mean, it is the traditional method of healing interior wounds. Get your symbols readjusted. Alter your metaphors. You're in good company. Human beings have been doing it for tens of thousands of years. It's the traditional and very effective way.
I like the idea that the psychologists are just bush league shamans with shittier props.
Yeah, that was Levi Strauss's argument. They're just kind of like poorly thought through shamans, right? His thing was that because they had adopted such a narrow professional clinical outlook and practice that they couldn't possibly heal the variety of things a shaman can heal. They're kind of like shamans, but they had given away their more powerful aspects in becoming scientized, let's say.
I very much like the idea that your therapist is a bush league shaman. But we don't have to go to the suburbs of Sao Paulo necessarily to establish the long tenure of therapy. I mean, you can just look at our favorite punching bag, the Catholic Church. Central to the Catholic Church is the sacrament of confession, where you go and chat with a priest about all the naughty things you did. And they've been doing that for a couple thousand years now.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I think your therapist is a shaman and is engaged in 10,000 or 20,000 years of human tradition. Dan is obsessed with the Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church has that effect on
when
people,
we'll have
though.
a shaman cure Dan of his obsession with the Catholic Church. Thank you.
Well, what would that look like, Michael?
Like an exorcism, but different. I don't know. I really don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I think your basic point, though, is correct. And we're pointing to two examples of having some sort of specialist rework your social being in some kind of a way.
Yeah,
and the
exactly
therapist
right.
is absolutely continuous with this. And it doesn't really matter where you go or who you're hanging out with. There's going to be some version of this, getting yourself right with the group of people that you're with that looks kind of like therapy, or that looks kind of like introspection, or that looks kind of like working on your soul or the inside stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy your therapist. I'm glad it worked out for you. It is a rich tradition.
If any psychologists are listening to this podcast, first of all, suck it. But second of all,
thanks for sticking it out. Wow, you talk about suffering. I mean, that's some suffering for the fandom right there.
Yeah. But given the cross-cultural reality of things that look like therapy, insofar as you're looking for a valid object of analysis for your science, there's lots of comparative cases that you could start looking at and start thinking about seriously. It's never too late, is what I'm saying, psychology. It's never too late.
Yeah, there you have it. I mean, therapy is about shamanism and the historical reality and cross-cultural reality of shamanism in human life, which is, when there have been humans, there have been shamans/therapists to help you get right. So there you have it.
Speaking of getting right, that's the end of this week's show. You can find all of our episodes and ask us questions at people-stuff.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter and subscribe to People Stuff Premium. That's people-stuff.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I'm Dan.
And I'm Michael. And we will be here talking about frog legs and shamans, or something like that.